First of all, like always, appreciate everybody coming out and covering Penn State football. Want to give Ohio a ton of credit. I thought they did a good job. I think they got a really good team. I think they're going to have a lot of success in their conference this year. When you talk about our situations that we talk about all the time, drive start, we started our 34, they started their 23, so we won that turnover battle, 0-0, so that was a tie. We got to obviously create some more big plays and turnovers on defense. Penalty battle, we did not win, 4 for 35 and 3 for 35. And then explosive plays, we were able to win that at 15.8%, if our math is correct, to 9.1. So some positives there. Obviously, we were able to get some explosive plays in the running game, which was helpful. We were able to get a win. We were able to gain a ton of experience for a bunch of players. And we were able, for the most part, to keep our guys healthy and fresh so we can have a great week this week and take the next step as a program. So, great crowd. Love the support that we get. It is truly special, and we're very appreciative, and we never take that for granted. But appreciate everybody coming out and supporting Penn State football. Open up the question.
Rich, I'm going to get a mic to you. We'll go Rich right here in the striped shirt.
James, you said you've been waiting for a running back to emerge. Did one emerge today?
Yeah, obviously there was some big runs that I felt like we had a chance of last week. But again, I got a ton of confidence in all three of those guys, really all four of those guys, excuse me. Devin has been phenomenal in the things that we've asked him to do as well. But obviously, Nick breaking off those big runs was needed. There's no doubt about it. So we'll watch the film, see what makes sense for us moving forward. But today, our rotation was similar to how we said it was going to be, 1 and 1 and 1, and then if somebody got hot, we would go in.
James, you talked a lot about getting a lot of young guys experience. Could this have gone any better? Could you have scripted this any better? 17 guys caught a ball. You had a 100-yard rusher. You got your freshman in. Could this have been a better scripted day for you?
Yeah, it could have went better. I didn't love the second quarter offensively. I thought we stalled out a few times. I thought we could have been better on third down. But, that's being critical. Besides that, obviously there was a lot of really good things to build on from. One of the things I talked to the team about in there is games like that are really important because there's so many players that work their tail off every day in season. Some guys have been doing it for years, and they never get an opportunity to get on the field. So, I appreciate the fact that our starters were able to execute in a way that allowed a number of guys to get on the field and get some playing time. And, for some guys, that could be a memory they take with them the rest of their life. So there's a lot of positives that come out of games like that. And for the most part, I was very pleased with how we've handled it.
Hey, James, what led to the decision to put over here?
Right here, Jim.
Geez, sorry.
All good. What led to the decision to put Drew in the game early in the third quarter as opposed to a little later, which a lot of people might have expected coming in?
Yeah, our plan was to play him a series in the second quarter and then a series in the third quarter. I wanted to try to do that. I think sometimes in the past we have planned on getting the guys in the game once there was a certain lead. And when the game doesn't play out that way, then they don't get the time that you really wanted them to have. So by saying we were going to get them a series in the second quarter and then a series in the third quarter, it didn't play out that way in the second quarter. That helped. Obviously, the middle eight was significant again for us. Being able to defer and get the ball coming out of the half and do some good things with it, that helped too.
Coach, quality reps for young players was a thing you talked about all in the offseason. Through 2 games now, how comfortable are you with the quality of these reps for the kids?
Yeah, I don't have the number. I haven't checked my notes, but I don't know how many guys we ended up playing. I know last week I think it was 7 freshmen. Chris, do you know what the number was? Does anybody know what the number was today? Yeah, I'm not sure what the number was, but it felt like a lot. which is really important. Those guys, their roles will continue to grow as they gain experience and confidence as the season goes on, and we're going to need them to see some freshmen not only play but make some big plays, pivotal plays within the game, whether long runs or touchdown catches or tackles or whatever it is. That will be helpful for us moving forward.
Tyler, then can you pass it to Neil?
Sure. James, what do you think Mike Yursich and your quarterback room get out of today's overall experience for three different guys, and particularly with Drew, his first extended look in this uniform? I know you want to look at the film, but what did you see today that you personally take away?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I think jumps out to everybody is he's just super poised in there. For a young kid, the game seems slow to him already. I think he's doing a really good job from a preparation standpoint. I think I said this last week. I think it also helps that he's 6'5", 242 pounds, because he's bigger than half the guys chasing him. And he can just kind of stand in there. And, I thought his mobility today, the fact that people are going to have to respect him in the zone read game and things like that. Now, he ain't Trace McSorley. I'm not saying that, but he does enough to keep people honest, in the quarterback running game off the zone reads and stuff. So that's probably the thing that stood out to me last week on the road against a Big Ten opponent in a tough environment. Seemed very poised and was able to build on that today, and we were able to get him a bunch of reps. So they were valuable reps. We had a bunch of discussions about when to get the other quarterbacks in and things like that, but it's just that fine line because there's only so many reps to go around. I was glad Veyer was able to get in because he has obviously earned it. I'm a huge Christian Veyer fan, and he's earned the right to play. But there's just only so many reps to go around, and I was glad that we were able to get Drew a significant number.
Hey James, wondering if you could talk about your right side blocking.
Thank you.
Was it Nick being able to just get the corner, or were you pretty happy with how the blocking was going on over there?
Yeah, the blocking going on over there.
Well, his runs were around the right edge, it seemed like, and can you assess the right side of your line?
Yeah, I have to watch the tape, but I do think what happens with Nick is he's got such good speed that maybe in years past when the read would be cloudy and you'd want to bounce it, we didn't always have the speed to get to the edge like he does. And he's shown the ability to do that. So, a run that may typically be 3 or 4 yards has a chance to be 80 with him. And I do think it has an impact, obviously not just on the rushing stats, but I think it has an impact on defensive coordinators when they know if they're not in their gap or they make a mistake that there's a back on the other side that can go 80 yards at any point. There's a lot of value in that, and I think it affects how people call a defense too.
Dave.
I saw the mic keep everybody's hand. Nobody would give it to you.
You're not in pro football, you're in college football, and college coaches are known to be not sentimental, but they will depend on guys who perform for them, have been dependable for them, and veteran players a little longer where ruthless pro coaches might not. And it looks like you've got some decisions to make with very young players who are really good and some veterans who may be trying to hold on to their jobs. Do you have an overarching philosophy on all of that and when you decide to make a move?
Yeah, first of all, we need them all. We're going to need every player on our roster. We're going to need every player in that locker room. And like I talk about all the time, all of their roles are critical for our success. Some guys' roles are going to increase as the year goes on. Some guys' roles are going to decrease as the year goes on. Some guys are going to stay the same. And that's the balancing act, right? Of being able to manage all of that, whether it's by position or whether that's the team. That's one of the jobs of the head football coach, right? Is to manage all of the personalities and egos that we have, and that is players as well as staff. So not always a fun job, but it's a big part of what we do and how we do it. And what we try to talk to the guys all the time about is what with team success comes individual recognition. And you know, the reality is the guys that truly commit to the team and putting the team first, all those other things come to them. At least that's what I have found throughout my career. So just continue to emphasize how everybody's role is critical, but ultimately we got to do what's best. We got to do what's best for the team.
Last question, last 2 questions, Donnie and then Greg.
James, you mentioned the middle eight. You guys, I think you scored the 2 in the first game and then the first one today, which in the moment was a big score. What's been the key for you guys there, and what does it take to be good in the middle eight offensively?
Well, it helps, right? If you defer, and if the way the game plays out, you got the ball at the end of the second half and have a chance. Sometimes it just doesn't play out that way. Getting off the field defensively or being able to sustain drives offensively to give yourself a chance to do that, and then being able to work the clock at the end of the half to give yourself a chance. Sometimes it's just not going to play out that way. You know, but we've been fortunate. We weren't going to do that in game 1, and we were able to force a turnover and make it happen. So, you know, all we're trying to do is keep teaching situational football and emphasize why these things are important. You know, knock on wood, you know, we got to keep protecting the football, and that's through decision making at the quarterback position. That's through protection of our quarterback in the pocket, and that is when we carry the ball, making sure it's high and tight and in the outside arm. We've done a pretty good job of that. We had one guy come in towards the end of the game, the ball's swinging all around, he puts it on the ground, is able to recover it. But you know, we got to keep coaching that aspect of football like the game depends on it, because it does.
James, are you concerned about your placement kicking game after Jake missed the field goal and the extra point, or have you seen enough from him over his time here and also camp and everything you guys tracked to just chalk it up to one bad day?
Yeah, no, I feel good. I mean, I think the miss was like, what, so like 47, 48 yards, 42. You know, if you look statistically in college football, you know, the percentage of that kick being made, he hasn't had a lot of opportunities. Part of it is because we've gone for it a bunch on 4th down and have been successful. But no, I got a ton of confidence in Jake and what he's going to do. We got to shore up the protection on the field goal. We're getting way too much push inside. That was a low kick, but we're getting too much push inside at our guard position. And the problem is, once you put that on tape, it's there. And now people are going to attack it. So we got to get that fixed, whether that's continuing techniques and fundamentals or whether that's making some changes at those positions as well. Everybody wants to talk about, you know, the other positions. That guard position on field goal, PAT is important too. I know nobody wants to talk about that. You guys, it's not sexy to you guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. See you.